Hi everyone, thanks for joining in. I hope you're doing well. It's snowing, you can see a little bit of snow in the back shot there. It's freezing, it's really crazy for March. Anyway, in this video what I wanted to do was to, rather than sort of pick on the tactics of religion, as I sometimes do, is to kind of go over perhaps old ground for some of you, that, you know, it's interesting, the power of religion, I guess, you know, the content of religion, what drives it, the endless fascination. Now, it's not something, as some people think, that keeps me awake every night, but, you know, the ongoing fascination, and now we have the conclave with the Pope being elected and all that kind of thing, which I think is more of a circus than any real plumbing the depths of the universe of what the meaning of life or anything else like that. But, you know, of course, you know, since time immemorial, I suppose, you know, people have employed strategies to negotiate reality, the world and that. And the reason that, and the thing that props up religion, I suppose, endlessly, of course, as Chris Hitchens often said, is like, very simply, is the fear of death, pain and death. So I just wanted to go into some areas. I'll just do this in breve first, and then focus on one particular angle. And so it's good to talk rationally, which leads me on to my final point. Have a look at this movie clip, this famous movie clip.
God? Is that it? God? Well, I tell you, let me give you a little inside information about God. God likes to watch. He's a prankster. Think about it. He gives man instincts. He gives you this extraordinary gift, and then what does he do? I swear, for his own amusement, his own private, cosmic gag reel, he sets the rules in opposition. It's the goof of all time. Look, but don't touch. Touch, but don't taste. Taste, don't swallow. And while you're jumping from one foot to the next, what is he doing? He's laughing his sick fucking ass off. He's a tight ass. He's a sadist. He's an absentee landlord. Worship that? Never.
Better to reign in hell than serve in heaven, is that it?
Why not? I'm here on the ground with my nose in it since the whole thing began. I've nurtured every sensation man has been inspired to have. I cared about what he wanted, and I never judged him. Why? Because I never rejected him. In spite of all his imperfections, I'm a fan of man. I'm a humanist. Maybe the last humanist. Who, in their right mind, Kevin, could possibly deny the 20th century was entirely mine? All of it, Kevin! All of it. Mine. I'm peaking, Kevin. It's my time now.
Yeah, it was a really good movie. A very, very good movie. And I have it for a very long time. The title is in French there, because I bought it here. But anyway, yeah, so the point in that is, everyone, that it's just that sentiment there when he says, you know, it's like, who can deny the 20th century isn't all mine? Now what I mean by that is this, I'll try to do this as shortly as I can. If you're a student of history, as I am, I love history, and I tend to watch an awful lot of old war movies, real stuff, documentaries and that. And recently I've been doing this kind of little minor study on the First World War. And here's the point. You know, from the dates 1914 to 1918. So let's bring it up 1916, the Somme, Verdun and all of that. And, you know, the generals famously criticized for just like throwing thousands and hundreds of thousands and millions of men into battle and nothing was happening. You would have thought, just like the Rationale that came in 1914 in the famous football match in the trenches, you would have thought like people would have said, hey, can we not just sit down and work this out? Because this, what's this all about? I mean, it's not going anywhere. So the thing in 1914 was one thing, but by 1916, 17, you would have thought, okay, political pride and power and all that, but you would have thought, wouldn't have come to an armistice before then? What I mean is that, you know, in the light of like unimaginable suffering, really. And you could apply the same thing to any major war, I guess, or hideous crime or something like that. The reason I mention that in the same way, you know, it's like when this character playing, you know, Al Pacino's character playing the devil, he said, who could deny that the 20th century wasn't all mine? Now, that's, if you're religious, that makes a lot of sense. And the reason I say that, when I was religious, when I was in my Jehovah's Witness time, you know, it made so much sense to me that it seemed that there had to be someone pulling the strings. Yeah, it kind of made sense because, you know, against all logic, rationale, even our own dumb brains, you think, like, we want to stop this. This doesn't make sense. This is like crazy, crazy, crazy. I mean, it's not like, you know, it's in the first year and let's sort it out. And anyway, it's just that whole point, regardless of what spectre of evil you can think of, I think that's a great glue for people. As I mentioned earlier about morality and revenge, justice and all those things, it kind of makes sense in the human psyche, I think. I mean, I'll confess, it did to me at one point in my life. Just like the man said, yeah, I mean, or the devil says, you know, I was behind all of this. And it just often seems like that because it just, the impossibility of it. So I think, so, you know, as I started, what keeps people, what's the credibility for some people? I think that's at least a factor. Any of the topics I mentioned are a video in itself. But besides the fear of death and all of those things, fear, helplessness, morality, injustice, justice, but I think that's plausible to some people. Mind you, a lot of the main Christian churches actually play down, except for the evangelicals, they play down the Satan, the Lucifer, the devil part of it a lot. But anyway, it was just a point I was making that it worked for me back in the day. I could see, I was never very comfortable with it, not so much, you know, the lake of fire, but it actually made a lot of sense to me. And I think, you know, you know, maybe to top it off, that it works in the movie, it's plausible in that movie. You know, that's what kind of people buy into, that, the sense of an evil entity, because nothing else can explain it. Not even the worst of human craziness can explain it. So it seems, as I said, like there's some monster behind the scenes. But mind you, that's all very well, but it would still pose the question then, in their mythology, why doesn't this God do anything about it? Anyway, what do you think about all that? Thank you for watching. Leave a comment below if you want, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye. And so it's good to talk.